The scraper is not the most romantic hand tool, but it's the first one I recommend if you're looking to introduce more hand tools into your woodworking. That's because it can cut through a lot of mill marks and defects in wood, doing away with a lot of sanding. Unlike a hand plane that can do a lot of damage when it's dull, the scraper, when it's dull, it just won't cut. Now what turns a scraper from a piece of steel into a useful tool is a hook that you turn along the edge. It's really easy to do, it's really easy to get wrong. I'll show you a really simple technique to sharpen your scraper and avoid the common mistakes that most woodworkers make. To get started, you're going to need just a few tools. I like a diamond plate to sharpen on. This is a combination plate, which is fine and extra fine. A file, a burnisher, and last but not least, a simple hardwood block with a saw kerf in it. This is the invention of a chairmaker Brian Boggs, and it comes in handy for a lot of tasks. So the first step is to polish the face and the edges of the scraper. I do that on the diamond stone. But if I were to use just my fingers on the flexible steel, I'd end up polishing only where my fingers are. So instead I'll use the wooden block, which is going to distribute the pressure evenly across the entire edge. What I'm looking for is a nice dull edge across the entire length of the scraper. I know that the diamond plate is hitting everything there. Once that's done, I can flip to the fine side and finish polishing that up. I'll repeat that for all four edges before I switch to filing the edges. So with the faces polished, we're going to turn our attention to the edges. We're going to start by filing those square and then polishing them on the diamond plate. To ensure that we file those at exactly a 90 degrees angle, or as close as we can get, we're going to insert it into our wooden block with just a little bit protruding above the surface, maybe a 64th of an inch, just enough that you can feel it. Now I can clamp it in the vise, and it's going to hold the scraper securely without bending or marring the edges. And because it's sticking up just a little bit, I know that when I file, as long as I'm not hitting the wood, I'm within a fraction or two of 90 degrees. That's where I want to be. Now after filing, you'll feel a burr along the edge. It's easy to mistake that with the hook we're going to turn later, but unlike the hook, this burr is going to leave a rough surface and break down really quickly. We're going to get rid of that before we turn the hook. We're going to leave it in the block, go to our diamond plate, and the block is going to hold that at a 90-degree angle, so we're polishing a nice square edge. It's pretty easy to see from the reflection whether all your file marks are gone. When they are, you can switch over to the extra fine face and finish off the polish, then repeat that on the opposite edge as well. Now after you polish this edge, typically you'll still have a very slight burr on the faces. You want to get rid of that as well. Just go back to the extra fine grit with your block until you don't feel any more burrs or rough spots. A really nice clean edge is a perfect starting point for turning a hook that's going to give you a really nice smooth finish and be durable as well. So now that we're flat, square, and polished, we're going to turn the hook. To get started, we're going to draw some steel up and then finally roll that over for the hook. To draw out that steel, I'm going to lay the scraper flat on the workbench and hold the burnisher flat on the scraper, angling it as I move forward to draw the steel out, but not imparting too much of an angle to make it too difficult to roll the hook back over. Just a couple of light strokes is all it takes. Okay, now we can turn the hook. To do that, the scraper goes back in the block, back in the vise. This time the scraper is going in with about 1/8 of an inch sticking up out of the top of the block. And this is where it can all go wrong. The two common mistakes at this point are using too much pressure and too much angle. Just a light touch is all you need. So to work this corner, I'm angling the scraper just 1 or 2 degrees and rotating it. So as I move forward, I'm drawing the steel out and over. To work the opposite face, I'm angling the scraper the opposite direction and pulling towards me. You'll feel just a really small burr, probably smaller than you're used to feeling. It's going to work out really well though. So let's check our work. This is where that shallow angle really comes in handy. It means we can scrape with the scraper almost vertically, which gets my thumbs, which are the driving force, right behind the blade, allowing me to take really aggressive shavings. If I want a lighter shaving, all I need to do is tilt the scraper a little bit forward, and it gives me a nice cleanup cut. Once I start taking dust instead of shavings, I know it's time to rehome. It's a snap to do that. All I do is draw the steel back out and turn that hook once again. You can do this 2 or 3 times before the steel starts to get too brittle. At that point, put it back in the block, file it down, start again. Give it a try. It's going to improve your woodworking. You'll have a lot more fun.